Let me get back to the house and then we will talk about the Quadzilla Adrenaline install, my first thoughts, different things with it that I already see that I love. And while you're waiting for me, how about you just check out those links in the video description for tools, parts, fluids, anything that I think is worth sharing with you. I've taken that time to make those links for your convenience. So check those out and I'll see you in a second. Just made it back to the house, boys. We actually pulled the front end of the truck into the garage because I need to look at a couple things, but that's not going to be in this video. We'll talk about that another time. Right now though, we're going to jump into my first thoughts and impressions on this Quadzilla Adrenaline and just go over the stuff that it has to offer for your 24 valve truck and what makes this Quad Adrenaline so great. The best tuner out there for VP44 powered trucks is the simple fact that you can customize the tunes on your truck and make the tune fit all the other supporting mods or anything that you have done to the truck. So whether you're running a stock truck, a mildly modded truck, a heavily modded truck, you can customize the tunes in the quad and make that fit your truck. You can really dial this quad in so that you don't bellow out a ton of smoke and smoke out intersections and you have nice clean power. Or if smoking things out is your thing and you want to be that fool out on the road, then you can get that out of it too. But the fact that you can gain as much power out of this as you can and have it be that clean and really dial every parameter in on this is just simply amazing. Let's pull it up on my phone right now though, and we'll kind of go through some of the features that it has to offer and take a look at it. So what you just saw right there in the beginning is the Quadzilla actually loading up the tune that I am currently playing around with. I am messing around with a test tune more or less, just to kind of play around with some of the custom tuning and see what does and doesn't work with my truck. There are 43 different things to load in those when you have a custom tune, and you want to watch that bar and make sure that it is loading everything. If it's not, then you want to click on the thing to reset back to default. Go back and check through your custom tune to make sure that everything is good and then try to reload it. So right out of the package, this is the main screen that it gives you. You can see you can set up 4 different parameters there with your speedo. Tells you the gear that you're in, your speed, whether your torque converter is locked or not, and then your power level, and you adjust it with the minus and plus down there at the bottom of the screen. Also get 2 other display modes here. So this one is just 9 different parameters that you get, and I am looking at my engine load, my RPM, EGTs, coolant, all that stuff. You can set up with whatever you want and monitor whatever you think needs to be monitored on your truck. This is the screen right here that I typically run while I'm driving, and it gives me that analog speedo. Again, tells me my speed and whether the torque converter is locked or not, the power level, and then it gives you 9 different parameters again that you can monitor. So I have it set up with boost pressure, EGT, and fuel pressure on the left, transmission temp, transmission slip, and coolant temp up on the top, and then throttle position, RPM, and engine load over on the right. To get other parameters and set it up differently, you're gonna touch and drag up at the bottom, and it gives you this little menu here. You have back down percentage, which is if you set a defueling mode, which we will go over in another video, but that's going to tell you the percentage at which the truck or the quad is backing down. You have your boost, your coolant temp, your battery voltage, your EGTs, your engine load, your fuel pressure, intake air temperature, oil pressure, RPM, throttle position, transmission slip. You got your trans temp, your miles per hour. I think this is your CAN bus fueling. Let me double check. A way to double check what it is you can tap it and hold, and it will tell you what it is. So if you're not sure what a certain thing is, just tap and hold and it'll tell you. Then you have your fuel temp, your timing, and then this stuff is for fuel mileage, eco and gallons per trip or something or other. I don't know, but we need to call Quadzilla anyways and just talk to them about a few different things with the custom tuning, and we're gonna ask them some other questions about that so that we know exactly what numbers the eco and gallon trip things here are telling us. When you have this little menu pulled up, you can see a bunch of red X's around each of the parameters. That's so you can close one of them and then you just touch and hold and drag whatever other one out there that you want to display, and you're good to go. We shrink that back down by just pushing it down literally like that. Let's jump over here into the menu setting by hitting the gear up in the upper left hand corner, and this is where you first and foremost want to select your vehicle. So hit vehicle selection. So right up here at the top you will see Dodge 98 to 2000, 98 to 2000 4K. That is, if you have the 4K one, you are gonna select that for whatever year truck you have. But if you scroll down further, you'll see that we have the V2 automatically loaded on here as soon as you purchase it. So that is what you want to select if you're running a VP44 truck and you buy one of these. You want to make sure you're going down and selecting V2 so that you have the most current stuff on this. Back out to our main menu, you got settings and sensor warnings that we'll dive into in another video and kind of go over what it has and what you can set up and do with it. But right now I want to bring up the custom tuning menu, and you can see we have a default profile that comes loaded on this thing, and then we have one labeled test, and that's the one that I am more or less just testing out and playing around with just to kind of figure some things out. So if we click on edit on the test one, it'll bring up everything that I have kind of been playing around with. We'll go over some of that stuff real quick. It starts by giving you your number of power levels, which I just left up at 11. Really that's 10 power levels because one of them is the valet mode or the security mode. The RPM limit is the amount of RPM that this thing will fuel up to. It will fuel to 3700 RPM, but I have it set to 3200. Your valet mode is the max amount of power that you're gonna get if you have this set on level 1. So if you are getting your truck valeted or the wife is gonna take it to the store and you wanna dumb the power down, that is where you're gonna control that. If the wife was gonna take it out and take it for a cruise and you don't want her to be able to get rowdy in the truck, I'd maybe set it around like 15% so it stalls as soon as she tries to leave. Yeah, that sounds about right. No, I'm just kidding though, guys. Like a good percentage for that would probably be like 75% or so. Not giving her all the power, but still allowing her to be able to get the truck up and moving. Below that, we have our pump tap parameters, our maximum fuel stretch, which is how much it's gonna stretch the VP44 pump. I have it set right now probably a little high. Like I said, I'm just playing around with it, so you can just never mind that number. After that is the TPS pump maximum and minimum, and what this is how much fuel you're gonna get depending on where your throttle position's at. So 100% for the maximum is gonna let you fuel all the way up to 100% throttle, and I have the minimum set at 20, so around 20% throttle is when the pump is gonna wanna kick on and give you that fueling. If you set it at 0 for the minimum and 100 for the maximum, you're gonna have more of a nice gradual even increase in fuel. Whereas if right here, say 20 to 100, it's kind of just gonna kick on at 20% and you're gonna feel that a little bit more. The pump tap fueling percentage, I have set real low right now at 2%, but I'm gonna put it back to 0. I was just more or less, like I said, playing around and seeing what things felt like. What the pump tap fueling percentage is basically where the VP44 is gonna turn on at and start fueling from. So mine, when it kicks on, is gonna start fueling at 2% and go up from there. If you were to set that at like 40% or whatever, it'd start at 40% and go up from there. That's basically, I think, what you want to change if you want to kind of get kicked in the ass when you step on it. So if you want by the seat of the pants acceleration, say, you're going to want to adjust that up a little bit higher, so when the pump kicks on, it's going to start off at a higher percentage and then climb its way up to 100. The low boost scale is the number of boost that this thing is going to start to fuel at as far as the VP44. So you can set that to whatever your little heart desires, and I have it set at 2 psi. So at 2 psi, the pump is on and ready to start fueling and go from there. You can set it a little bit higher. 2 is probably a little low, I would think maybe, but like I said, we're gonna call Quad and talk to them a little bit more, really get the lowdown on this thing and be able to really dive into this custom tuning and share some good stuff with you guys so that you can dial your trucks in as best as possible. And I believe that the boost scaling is how much boost that the pump will basically fuel to. Next on the list is your timing parameters, and before we really dive into this stuff too much, I am gonna call Quadzilla and talk to them just to get, like I said, more info on this and just be a little bit more up to speed before I start really telling you what's what and what this is gonna do for your truck or what it's not gonna do. But this is where you're gonna set different timing things for your truck. Below that is really kind of what I want to show you guys though, and that's the RPM timing max, and this is where you can set your timing dependent on RPM. For 1500 RPM I have my timing set at 14.5 degrees, 2000 RPM 17 degrees, 2500 RPM 21 degrees, 3000 at 22 degrees, and the max is at 24 degrees. You can see that they have red and green sections on these sliders. The red is your danger zone and the green is going to be the safe zone and what they recommend to stay within. So this is where you can adjust your timing curves and stuff. So this thing will do data logs and allow you to see what the truck is doing and how it's reacting to the tunes that you have set for it. And we'll go over that in a second here before we end the video. So depending on what you see on your data log and everything, you can come in here and you can adjust your curves accordingly. When you're done adjusting your RPM timing max, make sure you hit save in the upper right hand corner. And then below that we have our boost level fueling. This is the CAN bus fueling, and again you have red danger zones and green good to go zones. So if you were to set this at 100 all the way up here to 30 plus PSI, that's going to give you 100% of stock fueling all the way up through your boost range. You can go up to 150% and get 50% over stock fueling if you want, but depending on the size of your injectors, if you have big injectors, I don't think I would recommend that. Probably gonna make your truck smoke like a freight train depending on what you have other settings set at. So I would think about going at least at the stock level, possibly slightly below that. I do have 125 horsepower injectors in my truck, and you can see at 0 PSI I'm starting off at 84%, and then I'm climbing by 2, I think all the way up until 9 PSI, and then I let it jump by 4% all the way up till the end and let it do its thing there. And we're still just tweaking this a little bit and playing around with this, but honestly right now where it's at, the truck seems to accelerate very nicely, very smooth, all the way up to wherever I decide to let my foot off the throttle. It seems very consistent and smooth, and it feels good right here. It is able to put the power down nicely. It doesn't feel like it wants to slip or it's getting too much power. So I have actually been enjoying it set like this for right now, but I still think that it can be dialed in a little bit better and we can do better for the truck. Again, when you're done with your boost level fueling, make sure you hit save in the upper right hand corner. When you're done messing with all of your custom stuff here, you want to hit save on this so that it saves the tune. Back in the main menu below the custom tuning, you see that's where you have your data logging, and that literally tells you your boost pressure, your ECM, your coolant, EGT, engine load, all that stuff, intake, air temperature. And the cool thing with this is you can export this, email it to yourself, and then pull it up in Excel on your computer, and then you can chart it. You can graph it and literally look at the curves of how everything is going with your truck. Once you graph it like that and you have that visual, then you can look at it to come back into your custom tune and start dialing things in, pinpointing things where you need them to be to get that smoothest power increase, keeping it clean and not smoking out intersections and everybody behind you on the freeway. So this data logging stuff, like I said, is huge that we have this available to us with the VP44 trucks now, and we can take full advantage of that to get our trucks right where we want them and get the most out of them as far as power goes. If you're pumped like I am to have data logging for your VP44 powered truck, then go ahead and raise your hand down in the comment section, because I am super stoked to be able to see this stuff and see what the truck is doing, how it's reacting to the tune, and then taking that information and being able to come back in here and mess around with stuff and adjust it to make sure that my truck's power levels are as smooth as possible, as clean as possible. It's awesome that we have this available to us. So there's our first little look at what has to be hands down the best tuning option for a VP44 powered Cummins truck. That is the Adrenaline by none other than Quadzilla. But even with a stock truck using this thing, you'll be able to turn it up and definitely get it moving faster than she did from the factory. If you're really looking to have some fun though, might I suggest throwing some injectors in your truck, adding some more air to the mix, and then you'll be smiling ear to ear with no regrets. I will have links down below to Quadzilla's website and Diesel Auto Power's website if you guys are interested in one of these, if you've been on the fence about what tuner to get for your truck. I know a couple of you guys said that you were thinking about putting a tuner on your truck and you couldn't decide which one you wanted to go with. Now that you've seen a little bit of what this thing has to offer, what it can do for your truck, maybe that will help you make a decision as far as what tuner you want to get for yourself. I'll even make it easy on you, and I'll add the phone numbers to both Diesel Auto Power and Quadzilla in the video descriptions as well. If you guys do decide to call them up and make an order, you have questions you want to ask before ordering one of these, do me a favor and let them know that I sent you. You guys saw the videos, you liked what you saw, and you decided that you had to have one for yourself. And I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. If you don't have a tuner or you're looking to put something on your truck, I would highly suggest getting this thing because you will not be let down. So definitely get in contact with those guys and they'll take care of whatever you need. I think in the next video we are going to discuss a few things that are currently needing to be done with the truck and a little bit of the list that I am starting to put together for things that I want to get done and things that need to get done. So we will kind of touch base on some of that. I think I want to talk to you guys about the bigger project that I had mentioned a few videos back. So I might let you in on what that project was and kind of lay down some stuff as far as what I was thinking with that project and how I may or may not go about doing it. So we might touch base on that as well. So make sure that you guys are staying tuned. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, now would be a good time to hit that button and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a new upload. If you guys are digging the Quadzilla, then make sure you show me by smashing that thumbs up button. Like I said, we will have more to come on this and diving into it a little bit more, diving into the custom tunes and doing some more with that, trying to break it down a little bit better for you, just experimenting and playing around with different stuff with my truck so we can kind of just show you more of what it can do, what it's capable of. So make sure that you are not missing out on that. For now, I'm going to sign off and wrap this one up though, so I will hopefully see you soon when we go over some of the things that I want to get done and need to get done with the 24 valve. See ya.